Welcome to Bobster's Guide to Automating Forestry Apiaries. Here I'll show you how to automate apiaries with mods from Minecraft 1.7.10. In this particular episode we're going to look at 4 different mods, and those are Extra Utilities, BuildCraft 622. It needs to be 622 for the clay pipes. If you've got an earlier version you'll probably find the clay pipes don't exist, but you can still use BuildCraft in earlier versions anyway, just using a different method. We're going to look at Steve's Factory Manager and lastly Ender.io. So let's get started then. Right, so first of all is Extra Utilities. Now this is by far the simplest way of automating apiaries that you'll ever likely to come across. It's even easier than BuildCraft. So you have your storage. Now that could be anything, could go to number of chests, to the AE system, to whatever. And in this particular instance I'm going to do everything above ground, so obviously you can see what's going off around. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my apiary on top of this pipe, and then I'm going to add a transfer node to the side. So basically what happens here is once your bees die, they come out, they go round, and the Extra Utilities pipes go, items go on a first come first served basis. So items will try and go back into the apiary, and if they can't go in there they will go into the chest, and it's as simple as that. And if I drag a couple of bees out, and I'm using Oblivion frames from Magic Bees just to speed up the process, otherwise we'll be waiting here ages. Just make sure it's day. So this, with the Oblivion frame, it takes one tick and then the queen dies, and you'll see instantly that it will go eventually in a second, and there your bee dies, goes round the tube, straight back in again, and off it goes. And any produce would come down this pipe and go into your chest. There isn't anything because the Oblivion frames don't let any produce come. Now there are several ways you can do this. I personally like to have my apiaries set up in 4s like that. Some people prefer just rows of them, or that you can use the 4 method. Now I like this method, and I'll show you how to do this. So all you do is you clear out the blocks underneath the apiaries. Okay, so you start with a transfer node on the back of each apiary, like so, and then run the pipes underneath so they all meet in the middle. So the one that goes underneath connects, puts your bees back in, and then they all meet in the middle there. Now you might be thinking, well, when the drones come out of there, any surplus drones will come out and go into this apiary here, say, via the underneath. Well, you wouldn't be wrong in that, but there's a little trick with Extra Utilities pipes that makes them for bees especially good to use, and that is if you bring this down and then and then you brought it round to your storage, say your chest was here, or whatever your storage is. If you then take a stick and hit this middle pipe, you'll see what's actually happened is they've drawn these lines on each one, and these are directional pipes now. So all the items come along here, hit this section, and are forced down. That is the only side without these lines on. Okay, so they go that way, hit that section, and everything comes down. So that way you can't get drones from one apiary going into another apiary, and that simple little feature that of making that directional is what makes Extra Utilities so good, so cheap, and so easy to use for bees. As for doing the ones in a row, this is slightly more complicated, but in the same aspect it is and it isn't. So you've got your transfer nodes. Now this is going to look bad to start with, okay, and then you've got the ones underneath, and then you've got to hook up each and every one of these, and I'm stuck like so. But what you can do with extra utilities is you can break the pipes so they don't touch each other, and again with a stick you just hit both sides like that and you'll see that they disconnect. So you can do that all the way along. Oh yeah, you've got to be careful because you've got to hit this is where it starts getting a bit funny, so make sure, see that is wrong, okay? In fact that's wrong as well, because that's going the wrong direction. That's the right direction. Now it's a little bit trial and error this. I don't know if there's a set sort of routine for getting these right. See, that one's wrong, so it's that pipe we need to hit, or not. So we need to reconnect. Anyway, you get the idea. You can hit the pipes and disconnect them from each other, but it's a bit fiddly getting them to work in the right way. You could even set the direction so all the stuff goes in the right way, just by using directional pieces. But I did manage to get them all working right earlier, and all going the right direction. You see that one's wrong. See, that's okay, so that goes down, goes into there, but we now got to disconnect that one and disconnect that one. So okay, so you can see the point. And then what you can do is have all these meet at a certain point and then set the direction after that. So you'd have these coming down like so. Let me just do these. So that's okay, that's okay. That one we need to break, that goes down, that's okay. See, that one's wrong as well. Yeah, they're very fiddly, but you can get it. There we go. But that's not right there. These go back up and the rest comes down. And then what you do down here is you set all these into a directional feed off. So if this was our storage feed off, then all you need to do is set this so it's like, I'll get it right in a minute. Oh, not the easiest thing to set up, but it can be done. See, that's the wrong way. It's not going to come down, is it? Oh, got it then. Oh, damn. There we go. So items come in and then they're forced down into your storage or whatever that might be. So you can set them up like this. It just takes a little bit of fiddling and make sure you've got these facing the right way. And basically it's the flow. So lightest to darkest is the block. So that's actually the wrong way around. That's okay. So you're forcing them down. This one's wrong. Yeah. Anyway, I'll leave you to play with that. But it can be done like that as well. Just a little bit messy. Right, next on to BuildCraft. Now, normally I'm not going to be going over recipes, but for BuildCraft 6.2.2 I will, because things have changed. What you need is you're going to need some lasers, power source, which I'm using in Ender IO Creative Capacity Bank, and just some Ender IO conduits. You're going to need an assembly table to make the gates, and you're going to need an integration table too. And I'll show you how to make the various things. Okay, the first thing you're going to need is to make a redstone chipset, which is just redstone on its own. Okay, so if we make that, okay, that's in there. So we get redstone chipset. Next, you're going to need to make some red pipe wire, and for that, you're going to need redstone. Let's just stop that. Stop. Redstone, iron ingot, and red dye. So then make the pipe wire. So we've got a pipe wire and our redstone chipsets, and if you put those in together, they make the basic gates. You do not need the autarkic gates with BuildCraft 6.2.2. we just need basic gates. You are also going to need a pulsating redstone chipset, which is an ender pearl and Stop. Don't want that one. This is not quite working right, this deselecting. You see, it deselects that one, but it won't deselect the one that it's working on. The actual box is not changing, it's just a bug in the display. You see, that's going up really slowly, so that's not actually making that redstone chipset. So what you'll end up with is a basic gate and the pulsating chipsets. And what you do with these is you combine them in the integration table. So you put your gate in there and your pulsating chipset in there, and this makes a basic gate with the autarkic pulsar. You'll see there are installed expansions, autarkic pulsar, and this progress bar, so we'll let that go up. And we could stop those. Should give more power to this. That's better. Okay, so that gives you your basic gate, and what this actually gives you is, if I just click on here, is that the energy pulsar and the single energy pulse. Okay, so they were normally associated with the autarkic gates. So what you do now is you take any gate and fit it with the pulsating chipset in the integration table, and it gives you these energy pulsar and the single energy pulse. Okay, so that's something good to remember when you're doing this. Okay, back in the air again, we'll do this, and what I'm going to use here is I need cobblestone pipes. I'll use stone. Stone will do. It doesn't really matter which one you use. So let's just get the basic apiary set up. So this is how you would normally look and see. And here you would either have a diamond pipe or the apiary pipe from Forestry. But there's a cheaper, easier way to set this up. So if you put your gate in there, but this pipe here that goes back into the apiary, if you change that for a clay pipe. Now these clay pipes are BuildCraft 6.2.2. You won't find them in an earlier version. So you must use these clay pipes if you're not using the diamond or apiaries. And what these clay transport pipes are basically insertion pipes. So when items come out of here, they will come to here and say, if I can put items back into the apiary, I will. If not, they will go this direction. And we can see that again. What do we got? Just put the bees in. Wait for the tick to go. Right, so our bees have died. I haven't set the gate going yet, so that's why they haven't moved. So I'll show you the states that you've got here with apiaries. Now you can use items in inventory, because you know the apiary will have the items in, but there are specific ones for bees. So let me just turn in EAF. So you've got missing queen or princess, missing drone. I think they're the only two. Yeah. So you can set it for missing queen. So if there's no queen in there, that means that they're here in this side, and the queen has basically died. And then just set this to energy pulsar. So you can see the gate pulsing, and then you see the bees come out. They will hit the insert pipe. The first drone may go in. Well, the first drone will go in. The second, third, oh no, they're all going in this time. Okay, that's fine. And then we go with the next one. So if you want to, again, you can use the for method or the inner row. The inner row is slightly easier than extra utilities, simply because it's not as messy with the pipes. And what you can do is, oh hello, got a visitor, is on here. Obviously wooden pipes don't connect to each other, so they're not an issue. The pipe that comes down will connect to each other, but you can simply use just put them in. I'll show you. Oh, in fact, put them in and then use them at the same time. BuildCraft has a thing called pipe plugs, so you can basically stick the pipe plug there and that will stop this pipe connecting to this pipe like that. So you can just use pipe plugs all the way along. Like so. And then underneath put your clay pipes, and again use pipe plugs on the sides to stop them connecting, otherwise the bees will come down there, hit that and then go across and then maybe up into another apiary, so you don't want that to happen. So pipe plugs is your best friend with this. Simple, costless, effective way of automating apiaries. And then here, all you need to do here is switch to iron transport pipes. Okay, now if you're using an old version of BuildCraft, you'll be familiar that the item pipes interface changed. Whereas before it used to be the solid block the items went, it's now actually the opposite. Not sure if the Eater wrench changes these. Yes, it does. Yeah. Okay, so it's now the open side where the items go. It makes a lot more sense than the old way. So open side, you can have them all traversing the same way. So open that side, open that side. This one, whoops, missed it. No, I didn't. Whoa. That way, and here, I don't know, take them up to your storage area, and then just make sure that this pipe here is open that side. So what happens is your bees come out, go round, whatever can go back into the apiary will do, or they'll hit the iron pipe and then go all the way along. Can't go up these. And it's as simple as that. And let's put this into practice. I'll just I'll set all these up with bees. You know what? No flowers. They've all stopped, haven't they? Yep, no flowers. There we go. So the bees come out, hit the insertion pipe, which is the clay transport pipe, go back into the apiary, and then, oh, interesting. Is that not? Oh, I didn't put the clay pipe there, I put a stone one. Oh well, that actually shows you what would happen with if you don't use insertion pipes there. You see there actually is the princess and a drone, and you'll see there a drone come out, but a drone did go back in. So yeah, that goes to show you the difference between the insertion pipe or not, and I haven't got any output, so that's fine. Yeah, I'd used the wrong pipe there, should have used the clay. And you see they join unless you put the plugs on the end. Okay, so with the clay they will always go back in. Why aren't these two working? Oh, there we go. Just delayed reaction. And they are, but they're not coming out, so I've not set this gate up, have I? No. So that's going to pulse all the time because I've pulled the queen out. But you can see there the difference between items in inventory and not. So it just saves them pulsing all the time. So that's the BuildCraft way. Here you would do the same, but like the extra utilities way, all you'd do here is have an iron transport pipe where all the pipes meet and point it downwards. So again, I'll just do one quickly. Use your clay pipe underneath the apiary, wooden pipe to pull out, any pipe to connect the two together, and then here where they meet, not there, use an iron transport pipe and then set it so that's actually correct. So the open side is pointing down, so when they all meet together underneath, everything comes out, the bees, everything comes out the side, and the bees will go back into the apiary, and then everything else will go down to your storage area. Okay, so that's BuildCraft, but like I say, these clay pipes are specific to BuildCraft 6.2.2, so you may not have them, so check that before you go down this route. But that's a simple, effective way if you like seeing your bees, you know, coming out the pipes and stuff, because you don't see them with that, and some people are like that, some people do and don't. Right, so now we move on to the single apiary connections, and the next one is Steve Cart's, and you heard right, they require simple single apiary connection. What you do is take a inventory manager from Steve Cart's, stick your apiary on top, stick an input and output chest, they can be both, next to your inventory manager, and literally that is all you need to automate the apiary. If you're going to use more than one, simply string inventory cable and then just put the apiaries on top like so. Okay, so you can use one. For now I'll just show you how to set one up, and then we'll do the several. Now you must remember with this, unfortunately with when you're creating input and outputs and anything else, it reads NEI. So if you are using bees which are bred, which are not pure like the NEI ones, you can't actually specify, or I don't know a way of specifying a bred bee within Steve's factory manager. If we just create an input output, this is all you need. You need an input and an output, but you need it twice. Okay, once for input and once for output. Now I'm not an expert with Steve's factory manager, there may be a better way of doing this. If there is, let me know in the comments or send me an email or a message showing me basically how to do this. So the first thing we're going to do is, let me put in here, oops, a bee and a drone, princess and a drone in here. Okay, so the first thing we do is we take an input from our chest. Target doesn't matter, and items, simply blacklist nothing, so it reads all the items. Like I said with NEI, it, you know, you're reading items within NEI, so you can't put a bred bee in here, you can only put purebreds. So if you've got one trait that's different, doesn't match up. So the only way I found in particular to do this is to specify blacklist nothing, and then the output is going to be our apiary. Target doesn't matter, and then items blacklist nothing. So this basically takes our bees from our chest and puts them in the apiary, and there they go. And then what you need to do is you need to create a trigger for the output. So we then take our input is our apiary, target doesn't matter, items everything, and then we output them into the chest. Target doesn't matter, and items blacklist nothing. So what actually happens here is we've got our input into the apiary and our output from the apiary. Now if I stick an oblivion frame in there, just to speed things up. Okay, so they're pulled out, they're put in the chest, and they will be inserted straight back in again. Okay. Now to do multiple, all you have to do is quite simply change the same program, but in the inventories the input side is fine, but the output side, all you do is you specify all the apiaries, and same on this side. On the inventories, the inputs and the outputs specify all. Now if you put forestry ones in there, meadows in there, common in there, imperials in there, industrials in there, say, and another breed in there, there's no way to specify to put them that I know of. There probably is, but I'm not a Steve's Factory Manager expert in getting them to put right. So make sure you use all of the same bee type when you're doing it like this. So use all forestry bees. We'll set them up initially. The other problem is you might find night time's not good for bees. The other problem that you might find is that one apiary gets all the drones. Now if they all end at the same time, then that's likely. In fact, they might all go in the same one anyway. If I put those in there, yeah, they've all gone into the second one. So I think there is a way to change this. I'm sure there's a way to change it to say one at a time. I'm not sure how it is, but I'll leave that. But that basically is the Steve's Factory Manager way. That is probably not going to work right now, thinking about it, for these multiple apiaries until you've got a stack of drones in here. Once you've got a stack of drones, it'll be fine. I didn't put any in that end one. Okay, so that's Steve's Factory Manager. Simple, straightforward, but may require some more complicated setup than this. Just to stop everything piling up in the first one. Or you can use this later on, you know, after you've used your BuildCraft method. It's cheap, it's simple, only uses one interface, so you can have all this buried below the floor. So you've just got a row of apiaries, you know, like that, showing on the surface, which is nice, neat and tidy. And lastly we move on to Ender.io, and with Ender.io it's even simpler than other mods. Simply take some item conduit and I'm going to obviously do this up in the air so it's easier to see, and your storage, set your storage to input, set your mode to in-out, and on your insert side set this priority higher than any other that's on the connected to the item conduit. So for this one we're just going to use 5. On the extract side, make sure your redstone mode is set to active without signal, and make sure this end one self feed disabled is enabled. And then when we insert our bees, let's get some oblivion frame to put in it. You'll see when the bee dies, it immediately gets inserted back in again. Okay, so there you go, straight back in, no messing, no sweat. And then for multiple hives, just simply connect them up, set them up in the same way. So in, out, give them the same priority as the other ones. You don't want to give them different priority. Turn that off, turn that, enable that, So same here. Oops. In, out, set high priority. Make sure that's off, that's enabled. And then insert some bees. Now, the only thing to remember with this is you need extra drones in this bottom slot. If, for instance, that one finishes and has surplus drones, so let's say it had a stack of 63 in there and it made 3, the extra 2 would get pushed into one of these other apiaries. So always make sure that your apiaries have got surplus drones in, otherwise that's going to cause a problem. There's no point, or there's no need to set up any filtering at all. Just all works on priority, and then any combs or surplus drones will end up in here, so long as each hive has an excess of drones in there, and as you can see they pretty much do. If you have a queen that only makes 1 drone, then you're going to have a problem. You're going to need an extra drone in there, so make sure you've got spares of the same breed types. And that's literally it, and that's one connection in, out. That works like a dream. Okay, so like the other methods over there, if you did 4, it's exactly the same. There's no difference. You'd set it up the same, same as doing in a row. The only beauty is you don't have any pipes showing. All the connections would be underneath. So yeah, and that's it. So thank you for watching, and that's the end of the tutorial.